Okay, live on YouTube. Let's give a couple minutes for people to come in. Welcome to the chaos. Welcome to the mess. The studio is completely everywhere a mess. Sammy, hello. Cyberdog, yo. I'm gonna put some music on here. Give people a couple minutes to come and join the celebration. The chat up from the different platforms here. Feel free to comment on X or on actually X hasn't been pulling into Riverside, so I'm just gonna open that up over here. Is X even live? Yes, it is. Awesome. BJ over on X. Looks like a disaster. It is a disaster. That is accurate. For those who are curious, this song is Alex Grohl, which is a song that is off of Artlist. And I use Artlist for pretty much all of my videos. This is called The Fire Gate. It's all royalty free, which means I don't get in trouble when I stream it on the internet. They can be pretty mean, those licensing groups. But it's fair, they should get paid. All right, that's enough of that. Let's ramp this up. Let's get started and get into our topics here. So see what's over in the comments. Cyberdog says, congrats on the 10K. Thank you very much. Thank you. It's very exciting. If I had my oh boy, they're doing some drilling here still, so hopefully that doesn't come through on the mic. But if I had my Roadcaster, I would cue the applause or the clapping or the cheering. Actually, I can do that here in Riverside. So there's the cheering. 10,000. Yay! Thank you everybody for the applause. I appreciate it. It's been quite a journey. I'll get into that, I guess, shortly. Kind of go through what it's been, what we've been doing, how we got there. I should probably do my intro, just because, do. So welcome back to Tech for Work, where I discuss the things that I found interesting in the tech and business world this week. My name is Jesse Nolan. I'm your host and the founder of tabGeeks. This week will be a bit different because I'm not really going to cover much in the way of news. I hope that's not too disappointing for you. We're doing some exciting chat and hanging out in the pre-show here. So if you are listening to this on the podcast, know that you are missing out on the first couple minutes if you don't watch it live, but don't feel bad. It's really just schmoozing, and I'll recap now. We got Sammy saying hello and says you're good, no noise. So hopefully that sticks around. I've got some sound paneling going up. I put some insulation in the walls. I get into that. Yeah, and Cyberdog is here also over on the YouTube. I got BJ over on X, and hopefully we've got a bunch of other folks that are joining us as well. Apologies, miss your comments. I'm still trying to get this all lined up so that I can see everybody and everything, etc. But Yeah, let's get started. I crossed 10,000. This is really, really a huge, huge accomplishment in the world of YouTube. This puts me in the top 5% of YouTube channels worldwide, which is mind-boggling to think that I would get to this point. I don't think I had actually even, realized that I could get here a couple of years ago when I first got this started. It was just an audio-only podcast, and then, started working at it and continuing and building, and then went video and continued tweaking and then started building a studio and putting it together so that I wasn't recording with my kids screaming in the background. Um, and good evening, Vasil, and good evening, Mark. Welcome. Thank you for joining. But yeah, so it's a really big deal in the world of YouTube for multiple reasons. One of them being that YouTube considers this as a threshold. You get into the really good features such as affiliates and shopping and things like that, as well as the YouTube algorithm starts to take you more seriously. It's like, okay, you've done videos, you've put up a couple. In my case, I have almost 500 videos getting there, and it's something that the algorithm goes, you're not just a one-off. You're somebody that is actually building a community and is something that we should help to push to go to get to the next level. And the next level from here is 100,000. The next zero, it's going to be I don't know how long it's going to take, but it's going to be a definite push to get there. And it could take a few years. It could take a few weeks. If I have a couple of videos that pop off and go viral, like I had the sphere video, which helped to, I think, get me over the top here and did 200,000 views talking about the experience at the sphere where Google showed off at just before Google Next showed off as I spoke in the last time I went live here, their expansion of the Wizard of Oz to fit the sphere screen. So that video went crazy viral and essentially got me, I don't know, a couple hundred or probably about 600 subscribers just from that video alone. And so that got me close to this point. And then I was keeping an eye on it and it was creeping, the last 100, the last 50. And then I was like, all right, it's 1 a.m. I have to go to sleep. And so I went to sleep and I get up at 7 to take my kids to the bus every morning. So I got up and rubbed the sleep from my eyes and saw that it was at 9,999. And I got to watch it roll over to 10,000 and give myself a pat on the back and so on. So pretty exciting. It's a huge milestone, like I said before, in the life of a channel and the life of doing this as a professional creator and building everything out. So as a next step here, as you may have seen in the title, I am bringing back my tabGeeks swag. This is the first official run of some of the official swag that I'm going to have here. And I don't think I have the logo on the back here, but I probably should put the logo on the back. A couple t-shirts, couple shirts. I'm trying to get hoodies. I'm working with a company to figure out what the best hoodie company brand to work with is. I've worked with Bella Canvas for anybody who's in the space and knows some of these companies. That's who my original run back when we did conferences back in the day manufactured all of our shirts and our sweatshirts from. And those are really, really high quality, nice stuff. So this shirt actually is a Bella Canvas. Bella Canvas has changed a little bit over the years, but you can see here on the tag, it says Bella Canvas on there. And it's got the more modern logo that I've been using for the last, I don't know, probably 2 years or so that I've been doing this. But then I'm also, and this is Bella Canvas as well, but expanding into a couple of other different types of shirts. I have a zillion designs, things that I've thought of for years, and I just never really put into shirts, but I have a running list of probably 100 different design ideas. This one is I live in dark mode, which I do. Everything dark mode, everything everywhere all the time. Maybe that'll be another version of this shirt. So that's going to be going up on the store as soon as I get that. And then I have also the OG, the original early days IT hero tabGeek shirt. This was our first shirt. I give this out to all of the attendees who attended the first tabGeeks conferences. So that's in the works as well. And then I wouldn't be a tech company or a tech bro, as it were, if I didn't have zip up hoodies. And I was very disappointed to find in the store that they don't have very much in the way of zip up hoodies. They're like, oh, quarter zip and sweaters. I'm like, no, zip up hoodies. It's got to be zip up hoodies, and they got to be lightweight and they got to be comfortable so that we can wear them all day long when we're running around in the server room or whatever, the cold offices, etc., so that we can have some really nice and comfy, cozy setups. Now, these are made by Gildan, which is a very nice brand. That being said, they're thick. They're too thick, I think. So I'm gonna have to see if we can get some thinner options. I'll have both options up on the site. Right now, those just say tabGeeks on them. I got to come up maybe with some better ideas for those, but I think that's pretty much all of them. And this was the original, and I'm not making these anymore because they're expensive or gone or whatever. With the original logo, the original very thin, lightweight yet comfy Bella canvas zip up hoodies. So I still wear those, still love them. Those were from the conference days, and so I'll be bringing that back and a whole ton of other ideas. And if you've got ideas, hit me. I'd be happy to take submissions from all of you as for what types of shirts I should make or what type of products I should make. I'm not getting into the custom manufacturing game just yet. It's all just designs that I throw together in Canva of quirky things that I've come up with over the years. But that's something that I was like, all right, it's time. I've hit 10,000. It's time to get into the swag game and bring back some of the old classics as well as a whole bunch of new ones that I have been thinking of. And I'm going to be wearing them at I/O next week. I'm leaving on Monday for Google I/O, and so I will be showing them off for anybody who is there or anybody who I meet there. They can see the initial designs. And already speaking to the company about doing uh, updated runs on getting higher quality prints because I didn't exactly fully like what I was seeing on those prints. They want them to be higher quality, sharper quality, etc. So we will get that dialed in, and then I'll launch it on the store. You can already sort of see it if you want to like pre-order these and take a gamble that maybe it won't be the best quality, but you want to be the first ones in. I think the shelf on YouTube already has them, so they're there, they're live technically. If you want to just be warned that their quality is not going to be as good as I necessarily wanted. So, all right, let's talk about the studio. Yes, it's a disaster, as BJ said. It looks like on over on X over there. BJ, you can come and join us on the YouTube side. I turned off ads. It was BJ who complained that he gets ad-free live streams over on X, so he gets to watch me over there. But instead, I just made the stream on YouTube free of ads because live streams I don't think should have ads. Then you get behind. Like, how does that work? I don't know. It ruins the experience. So live stream is live because you're here, you're in the chat. Thank you for being here. Let's get into what's going on with the studio. So I have a video that I have to edit and put out about this that explains it all. But not in, but at the end of last year about, I was like, all right, it's time to redo my studio. I want to have a better setup. I'm still in a 10 by 10, 10 foot by 10 foot space. I want to have a better way to faster create videos and less setup and tear down of the camera because I was filming in front of my desk. My old setup with the books and whatnot behind me, I'm sitting at my desk as I am doing right now. And so doing that is very difficult when you are using it as your office as well as your film studio because there's a lot of things like the desk gets messy or the thing behind you isn't set up. You got to roll the desk into place. It's all not very conducive for a very fast moving, especially if I'm trying to put out 2, 3, 4, 5 videos a week, usually not 5 or even 4, but I've done it. I've done it actually quite a bit lately because Ubiquiti has been just on an insane streak this year of just pumping out products like crazy. And so, some of them around here in the background. But I was just, crazy nonstop making videos, and the studio got into a huge mess because I was just throwing everything everywhere because I was just trying to get, meet this production schedule and get it all out. And so I started redesigning that, and I got to a point where it was pretty good, and I had kept promising to do a video showing off that design and that studio, but it never really quite got to the point where I was like, all right, it's dialed into the point where I want to share it with the world. All the cables are hidden away. It looks professional. It looks really nice, and all the stuff is where it's supposed to go and whatever. And it never really got to that point, and so I never made the video. So then, after coming back from Google Next, life throws you curves, and it turned out that I needed to move out of that space and instead into a 10 by 20. So double the space, which is fantastic and very exciting. And I'll get into that in a moment as to what I'm doing with it and what it looks like. Right, I'll show you. Um, but that meant that I had to tear down the other studio, throw everything into boxes, and go into full design and construction mode. Picturing Iron Man 2, where Tony Stark, breaks out the hammer and starts going sledgehammer and starts going at the wall. I wish I was that cool, but that's kind of what I was picturing in my mind with that visual right there. And I had a design of what it would look like, which is actually on the door behind me is two different variants of it. But I didn't really, I hadn't ever had everything measured or dialed in or whatnot. And so I jumped into doing that. And that's why there hasn't been any live shows from me in a while. And that's why there hasn't been any, not any, but very few videos from me. And I haven't even gotten my Google Next vlog out yet. I apologize. But it's coming, I promise. And essentially I said, okay, great. I'm doubling the space. That means that I can now separate the desk editing bay filming space setup and actually have like a proper YouTuber a dedicated filming studio setup, and studio is going to be down there. So right now this, if you will, 10 by 10 space is going to be my desk. So I've got my screen, I've got the monitor in front of me, like I have, like you'll see in some of my other videos. And then this shelving unit is going to go away. This is just temporary to store all this stuff. Not entirely sure what to do with that wall behind me just yet. I have a couple of ideas. Obviously, the hooks and the backpacks and the messy wire, no, the wire, what do you call it, metal frame shelves are going to come down. And I was thinking that I could probably show off a lot of the gear that I have, like a lot of the Ubiquiti tech and some of the Google stuff that I've gotten over the years and things like that, and kind of make it like a museum. Maybe put shelves with an LED strip pointing upward, so it gets that kind of nice soft glow of whatever color I'm projecting onto the wall there, and then that kind of be the wall of museum of things tech highlighted from over the years. Some failures up there, my Palm Pilots up there, my Blackberries, etc. I think that'll probably be really, really cool. So it's just a matter of designing that and figuring out how it's going to go. Got power right there, route wall, so it'll be really simple if I want to wire that all up. Because everybody knows a good YouTube studio has to have a lot of RGB LED lighting, and it has to all disappear into the background and just look super, super cool and professional. So anyway, so that's this side, and so I'm gonna get all that dialed in and do a video about that. But take a look here now, and apologies to the people who are just doing this on audio. This is really a video visual episode here. I'll try to describe it as best I can here. Cyberdog says RGB or bust. I agree for sure. Vasil says totally agree about the ads. Yeah, yes, I'm here to make money, but I'm here to make money from my greater audience, and the live I think is a sacred place. But anyway, so let's take a look down here. You can see downrange. There is the mess. Oh my god, it's terrible. Please don't judge me for it. It's like moving into a new apartment. You just have crap everywhere. So essentially, what you see over here, these wood panels, which I'm trying to like that way. The wood panels on the wall are the wood slats that everybody has been talking about and are like super nice. And they were going to be just an accent background. They weren't going to be my background. I was going to do like some cool, funky sound shaping black tiles, which were like the white tiles that I had in my previous setup. But then I started putting up these wooden panels. I was like, holy crap, these are really, really nice. Like there's a reason a lot of YouTubers have adopted them into their different studio setups, because they are just so nice. And so I bought a couple extra packages, and now that whole wall is being lined with those panels, and that is going to be my dedicated background. And yes, because it's LED, RGB or bust, I am going to be putting LED strips in between. Not every single one, that would be way too much, please. I don't want to irradiate myself, but a little bit of accent lights on those in between those strips, some of them at different intervals over there, like kind of how you can see where the lightsaber is over there. Don't show anything I'm not supposed to. Don't worry, nothing in here as far as I can tell is under embargo, and anything that would be is usually in a big black box. I have a black embargo box so that it's not showing off anything that I shouldn't be. Just taking another look around here. No, I think I'm good. Otherwise, I'll have to take the stream down afterwards and whatnot. But everything in here is supposed to be in here. Nothing is embargoed. So thank you for that warning, Faisal. So Cyberdog says, ooh, sweet idea. Yeah, I'm really happy with the way it's turning out. Sammy says RGB. 100%, I agree. More RGB. But so this is the space, right? It's a 10 by 20. So that door over there is actually my water heater. So that's going to stay there, but I'll probably end up utilizing that in some way to store some extra stuff or take some things out, as a surprise in the video or whatever. Then I've got, where is it? This thing over here is actually a test print that I did as part of the store. It's just the tabGeeks logo printed on canvas, which is pretty cool. But over here in the corner, which is really hard to do when pointing out this way, this is the network rack. So on top of there is going to go my Ubiquiti rack, and essentially in front of it, I've actually got sponsored by FlexiDesk. FlexiDesk? Yeah. And they sent me a massive desk, actually. FlexiSpot sponsored me and sent me a desk. So I'll do a whole video on setting that up. It's one of those super cool sit stand desks, goes up and goes down, motorized. And then of course you got to do the French model pose, laying down on it while it lifts you up, because that's for some reason the way that we show off the weight capacity limit, or lift capacity limit of these desks. So I guess stay tuned for that coming in the future, which will be super embarrassing. But hey, you got to do what you got to do, right? But it's a large L-shaped desk, so I'm going to have enough space on there for all the products that I'm reviewing, for having a monitor on there for showing off real-time testing and things like that. And essentially, that's where the whole setup is going to live. Then I'm going to have in front of that a tripod with my camera, and I actually have a couple of upgrades. This is the Elgato prompter. It is a teleprompter, which the bottom half here is a screen, and it reflects up into this area here. So when I'm sitting in front of it, I can read the screen from here, but it's the camera is recording through the glass. This is a piece of glass here, and the camera records through it. And so that's how a teleprompter works. And so essentially, I'll be able to have much more smoother, more single take type videos where I won't have to spend as long recording. Again, this is all about increasing my speed at being able to put out more videos for all of you. So I got this. I'm very excited for that because I wanted one for a long time, and it's really, really cool and really helpful. I also got the new Amran Pano 60C lighting kit, which I can show off over here. Oops. This just came out brand new from Amran. They're pretty awesome. If you watch any of the other super nerdy creator camera channels or whatnot, like Gerald Undone, his tours of studios and whatnot, he's always sponsored by Amran. He talks about them a lot, and that's because they're really, really great. They make fantastic panels. And in the past, I've used like smaller light panels, not really any kind of focused light. I've been putting a lot of work into learning how all of that works, and took a couple of courses from some other creators out there to really understand and watch a whole bunch of YouTube videos on it and really dial in how to do proper soft lighting where it's directional and you can point it at your face, and then you get that distance from the background where then you can light the background up with different colors, and then it looks like a professional YouTube studio, and that's how that's done. So I'll do a whole behind the scenes video on that as well. But essentially, so the back of all of my videos are going to be the wood panels that we were talking about before, and then directly in front of that is going to be, over in the corner there is going to be the server, and not the server, but the network rack and all the goodies in there. And then essentially in front of that will be the desk, and then we'll have the camera with a teleprompter on it, as well as the camera built into it, and then probably a stand for my laptop or something while I'm recording. And the goal there is to be able to just have nothing on that desk, have the camera ready to go, sit down and hit record when I've got, Ubiquiti knocking at my door with, hey, we just announced something and it arrived, and let's do a video on it. Or I have a couple of other things that are coming from a couple of different companies. There's some Starlink stuff coming up that I've got to cover. Not that I have advanced notice from Starlink themselves, but they just came out with the mini access point that goes with the Starlink Mini. So I got that. I'm going to be reviewing that. Somebody is doing a Kickstarter campaign, so grain of salt with that, but it seems like they are actually shipping of a really nice battery pack mount for the Starlink Mini. So they're sending me that. I'm going to be reviewing that as well. And then of course I'm going to be just doing a whole series on how I'm dialing in the studio and how all that is going to look. Other things that I've got going on here are for overall lighting of the studio, I've got the Nanoleaf blocks. Nanoleaf is a really cool LED lighting company. I've got here one of their light strips. This is a smart multicolor light strip, but essentially it allows you to really dial in the light and integrate them into things like the shelves, like I talked about before. But they also make these really cool light blocks, and they're squares and they're solid, and you can mount them to the wall and so on. And they're nice and bright, and it comes in like four to a pack, I think. So I got two. So I'm actually going to mount them to the ceiling. Normally you would mount them to the wall in front of you, and they come with different attachments and stuff. But because I want to be able to control the lighting, you can see here I've got the harsh overhead lighting from the spots that are over my head here, and it doesn't look as cool or as good as if you were fully controlling the lighting. Another thing that I am going to be doing is in the studio here, as you can see where all of this harsh light is coming, this is sunlight. There's a window right here, and so all of that light is coming in here, which is why the left side of my face is so much more lit than the right side. And when you're doing a video properly, you want to be able to control for that. So I actually have a I think it's Smart Wings was the company that did it. Smart Wings is a PoE matter controllable electronic blind that'll rise and drop as I want it. So I can hook it up to a button on my desk and just bring down the shade automatically, and that'll all be powered by the rack, of course, because it is PoE. And that will then also in the same command bring down the blinds, which are blackout shades, which would be really cool, and then bring on the other lights, which are the Nanoleaf blocks, they're called. And then also I'll go and set up the rest of the lighting, like the Amran and so on, for my setup. And there's terms for all of these things: key light and hair light and fill light and this and that. And you can look up how to do all of those different things there. But that's how I'm going to control the light in the studio. And of course, I put in really good air conditioning. So I have a mini split up over here, right over my head. And so that's going to keep the air conditioning going so that it's nice and cool in here when I'm recording, because when you've got all this stuff and computers and stuff, you generate a lot of heat. So yeah, so the idea here is to get to a point where I can, with a couple of buttons, dim the lights, bring up the other lights, start recording, do my video, then grab the SD card, come back to the computer, throw it in, start editing. With another button, everything switches back to edit mode, and that's kind of how all of that is going to work. Let me jump over to the comments here. Cyberdog says, "Yeah, I like Nanoleaf. I use the 4D screen mirroring kit and some strips." Yeah, they have a lot of really cool products. They are pricey. Who's the other one that I have here? Govee. So Govee has been like they're on a real uptick path. They went from cheap Chinese, copycat knockoff lights to a real contender in the super cool mood lighting space. And so let me go get it 1 second. I have here stuff everywhere. This is the Govee RGB ICW floor lamp basic. And this basically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in the corner of my background, and this will be able to kind of give the nice soft lighting of the background to give it the ambiance of color that I want for whichever video that I'm doing. So for example, like if I'm doing a Ubiquiti video, it'll be blue to go with the Ubiquiti colors and, different stuff like that. And so like Govee has really come a long way in building out their integrations with the other platforms like Google Home and their Apple Home and whatnot. And they've actually started making some really, really nice products that are not made by, as far as I can see, anybody else in the industry. And so I'm going to be doing a lot of those. I think the light strips that I'm going to put in between the wood slats are probably also going to be Govee, because one of the options that Govee has for those slats is a really nice diffused light strip. So the normal light strips, like the Nanoleaf light strips here, if you can see on the screen, they're all exposed LEDs. And so we're talking about soft light versus hard light. Hard light is what's hitting my face now. Soft light is what you get when you have more of a diffuser on it, a sheet or a balloon or something along those lines. The reason why you want to do that is because it's less extreme, and the camera is able to pick it up as the more muted colors, and it just creates a more blended background. And so what the Govee ones do is that they have a diffuser directly across the LED strip. So instead of it being the individual LEDs and seeing the individual dots of light, which you can do, especially when you're filming, is it spreads them out and makes it more of a soft light, so it's diffused, and you don't you don't see the individual devices as much. You just see the individual lights as much. You just see the actual color itself, which is what we're really going for here. So there's a lot that goes into doing this. It's a super nerding out on the production side and the smart home side, which I do want to start making more content about on this channel as well, because that is a I guess sleeping passion of mine. I got kind of disappointed with the state of the smart home or smart home type tech industry, just because as we entered into chip, which then became matter, which then became whatever, everything else, like all of this stuff needs to work better together, and it doesn't. And so that's why I got really disappointed in doing that. I got deep into it in like 2014, 15, 16, 17, 18, and then during COVID, I don't know, I got out of it and I was doing everything else, and my system started breaking, and SmartThings, which was the system I was using at home at the time, just was not working as well as I wanted it to, and the devices didn't talk to each other, and you have lag and you have issues, and it's like the tech is here. We have the ability to do this. It's just that the biggest companies in the space, unfortunately, don't really give a crap when it comes to focusing on this. And the companies that do care about this are too small to change industry standards. And so Google and Apple and Samsung, who make smart things, all banded together to make the chip communications over IP or something like that. smart home communications, etc., which then became Matter and Thread, etc. Like that is their approach and their attempt at doing that. But again, it's not their focus, especially with the explosion of AI. All of that is taking a back seat. Have you noticed that Google's cameras, the Google Nest cameras, are stuck at 1080? They're not even 2K cameras, never mind 4K cameras. They're stuck at 1080. And the Google Wi-Fi pucks, they're okay. And I love Google, so far from me to talk bad about Google, but the Google Nest space really needs a lot of work. And I think that using Gemini as a cornerstone when you get into Google Assistant, which is where, I mean, you want to talk to your house, right? We all want Jarvis. I will give you all of my data. I don't care about privacy. I just want Jarvis. Like, if you can give me Jarvis, you can have my privacy, and you just got to trust Google to keep it safe, for better or for worse. And that's going to piss off a whole bunch of people and get me flaming in the comments at some point, I'm sure. But the fact of the matter is that, like, they're the ones that can tie all this together. They've got Gemini, they've got the different elements, they've got the Google Nest branding. Like, work together, make all of this work well, so that I can just say the wake word and then say, okay, recording time, and it does all of the things for me. And you can do that today, but it's a pain in the butt to do it, and you need to be extremely highly technical, and it's not simple or easy. So I do think that is getting ready to change, as a lot of these items or products in those spaces are maturing and becoming more available as these companies work to work together and to adopt these standards and push them out. And you have to remember, it does take time to develop new products and stuff like that. And so I think now's a good time for me to start making content about that. I've obviously been really big into it in the past, and I think it's time to start getting back into it. There's a couple of major home management platforms that are out there, and you can run the stuff on like a Raspberry Pi or a Mac Mini, or an old Mac Mini or something like that. Essentially, yeah, that's just going to be another area for me to get into and utilize in the new space. I obviously have like smart locks and all the different things on my house, and so I've got the platform to be able to build all this out, and I've got the network for it. Obviously, it's just this stuff is expensive, and I got to see if I can get samples sent over to me instead of going out and buying all of these things. So all right, enough on that. That's the studio rebuild update. It's going to be a long process. It's probably going to be a few months until it's fully dialed in. But my plan is, instead of making just the one video showing everything off, my plan is to make several videos, and I have been filming pretty much this entire process, from construction down to the studs, all the way through to getting this room set up, and where I'm going to be going from here. I've got to rewire my entire rack because that's all a complete cluster, and I've got to finish putting up the slats, and I just was drilling some holes yesterday. I have the Insta 360, the new X5, because I'm a super glutton for punishment. I mean, nerd when it comes to cameras, and I can't help myself. When there's an amazing piece of equipment like this, I just need to have it. And so I bought that. I'm gonna be using that to film IO, which is my next topic to get into here. And it's just really awesome because it's you film from both sides. It's 360 degrees, so I can just put it in the room and go to work, and then I've got my footage. And so pretty awesome there. All right, let me take a sip here, because I've been talking for 33 minutes straight. Oh, I didn't mention the soundproofing before I go into IO, as I can hear the guys working through the wall on the other side of the wall. The walls actually are stuffed with soundproofing insulation. It's a special, I forget what they call it, rock sounds, something like that. I can look it up and post it online, or as part of my teardown video for sure. But essentially, you get the sheetrock, and then in behind that, you get this sound core insulation. That goes a really long way in dampening the sound, and so that's going to make it really nice for me to be able to just hit record and not have to wait until the studio is quiet, or worry as much about neighbors, gardeners, etc. Which, speaking of which, my gardener should be here soon, and I'm gonna do it to myself instead of somebody else's gardener getting in my feeds. But this is how it goes when you're recording from a home studio, and trying to make it as professional as possible. But hopefully, it's not going to be as much of an issue now, because the insulation is there and the added walls and so on. So, all right. Let's talk about Google I/O. Google I/O is next week. I head out on Monday afternoon. I will be there all week because I also have a GDE event afterwards. GDE is Google Developer Expert. But at I/O, here's what I am expecting. Lots of AI everything, AI everything everywhere all at once. And don't make it a drinking game, because it will kill you. Like, you won't survive if you what was it, 132 times they said the word AI. Sundar Pichai said the word AI, or everybody together said the word AI in their keynote last year at at IO, and of course they had Gemini count how many instances of AI there was in the script, which was cool and cute, and of course they did. But essentially, what they did is something very interesting. Historically, Google I/O has been, I mean, it's their consumer conference, but it's a development conference, but it's not Google Next, and so historically it's been about Android and consumer hardware. They announced the Google Home speaker lineup there. They announced Google Nest stuff there. They announced Google Glass there. They announced Google Dream, or whatever their previous version of their virtual reality headset was called, if anybody remembers that. And that's been sort of the consumer side of things. In the last couple of years, it's been more AI, more cloud, more business enterprise stuff. But oh, by the way, it's not just business; it's also not residential. It's also consumer, because reminder, Gmail is used by 2 billion people around the world, and there's only several hundred million of them that are actually business customers. You have a lot more people that are using these features than just the business folks. That being said, a lot of times the announcements that are made for consumers usually start showing up for businesses as well. For example, one of the things that they announced was that you're going to have emoji reactions on emails, and that was for Gmail. And that was announced last year or the year before, and that is now rolling out to workspace accounts, I understand. So those things that generally do make their way on through. Obviously, there's different priorities of which direction they go and when and how it's all built out to scale to that many folks, and to make sure that it's kept safe and secure for businesses. But it's always interesting to see what they cover. And so this year, what they actually did is they bumped Android. They said, Android, sorry, we have too much to talk about. We're going to not feature Android. Well, I won't say at all, because there's definitely going to be Android stuff, but their Android announcements, they did already. They held a special event on the Android show on YouTube, where they had a pre recorded event, and they showed off their announcements for Android, the next version of Android, what the new material design language is going to look like, as well as showing off some of the phones from Samsung and Google and others, etc., and talking about the updates that are coming. You're going to have Android Auto is coming to, or sorry, Gemini is coming to Android Auto, as well as to TVs for Google TV, and so on. And so all that news has already been released, been announced. Like, that's not going to be part of IO, and so that leaves even more focus for Gemini and AI and all of that everywhere. Now, I am hoping, dreaming of a world in which they announce a refreshed Google Assistant, because number one, that would look really good in terms of getting ahead of everybody else, Siri and Amazon's speaker, who I'm not going to say her name because she's even more sensitive than the Apple devices, and revamping their assistant, the Google Assistant, to Gemini, and actually giving type of contextual awareness that it needs in order to properly succeed. And sure, 1984, Big Brother, all that, but that's where these products are going. Use them or don't. And like I said before, I'm dying to just have Jarvis. Like, give me Jarvis, and I'll be a very happy man. Jarvis, obviously, being the AI assistant from Iron Man. For those of you who don't watch the Marvel Universe or live under a rock, um, are they going to? I don't know. Have I heard anything about this? Has that come up yet? I don't think so. There are folks that are obviously speculating, and they have all the pieces. They could put it together, but I don't know for sure what's going to happen. But that would be really, really nice. Also, the other thing that I really want to hear about is their XR, virtual and augmented reality. XR is the term in the industry that combines augmented and virtual reality, as well as any of the glasses platforms, that the form factors that you wear when you're interacting with them. And I have been, for those of you who have not been following my channel lately, although if you're on the show, you probably are. Oops, I got somebody coming in behind me, one of the workers. Oh well. I have been getting really big into, one second here. Sorry about that. I've gotten really big into the headsets, like from Xreal, for example. So I did a video comparing the Xreal 1 with the Air 2 Ultras. Xreal just sent over sorry, not the Air 2 Ultras, the Air 2 Pros. And I just got sent over the Ultras. And so I'm testing those now. And my order of the Xreal 1 Pros has been placed, and I'm waiting for it to ship, which I understand they are now shipping, but mine, I haven't gotten the notice that mine is shipping just yet. And so when that arrives, I will do a whole video on that. However, my dream for virtual and augmented reality as a business professional and a tech nerd, like, obviously, of course, I want to play video games on a massive screen, or watch, TV or movies or football games or whatever on the huge screen. That's mind-blowingly awesome. But for me, you've all heard me talk about my massive setup and how much I love my 49-inch ultra wide and the 4K TV that I have above me, and more screens everywhere, screen real estate, right? I want to be able to have that on my face on a pair of glasses that are not, the Apple Vision Pro, which is absolutely enormous. And we're so close, we're getting there. So the X Real ones have an ultra wide mode where you can actually have basically my 49-inch ultra wide, but in space. Is the clarity there? Not quite, not according to what I would like. It's good. Don't get me wrong. It's definitely usable. I use them. I have, I said in my video, and I've said on past shows also, my daughter is a little delayed developmentally. She's 2, and so she's been doing a lot of physical therapy and all the different early intervention stuff and whatnot. And so that means that I'm spending a lot of time in a waiting room with just my laptop. And with those glasses, I've been able to actually edit videos and get some real work done because I can have things truly side by side, and then I have the additional screen of my laptop as well. And that's been really wonderful. And I just need the quality of the screens to get to the point where it's like looking at my monitor or looking at my phone. Right now, I get eye strain from it, from doing it too much. You can see the text is a little bit fuzzy, and I don't like that as much. And so there's definitely room to grow and room for them to continue building this out. And this is still very early days for the tech. But when you get some of the big players like Google and Apple and Samsung getting in and throwing their weight into the ring, literally here, they're going to completely change the game. And Facebook, Meta is coming down the pipe as well with their headsets that they have been testing. They have Orion, which is some other kind of interesting experience. But it seems like they're all trying to enable both on the personal consumer side, the ability to have everything on a really big screen, and also the augmented side to interact with the world around you, which is, great and kind of a superpower, similar to, Jarvis and Iron Man. But then also on the professional side to be able to have these spaces where you can work. And Meta, Facebook, etc., back in the day showed off their Horizon something where you could work in their space, whatever it was. Nobody had legs. It was weird. They finally got legs, but they're like cartoon characters. It really was not wonderful of an implementation, in my opinion. But it shows that they're thinking about it. And I guarantee you Google is thinking about it as well, because Google already is doing with Project Starline, which I put out a video on. If you missed that, go watch it. With Project Starline, they've got the whole 3D video virtual meeting thing going on. It's not too far a step to think about, okay, how could we do that if you're wearing something on your face where you've got a big room that you're in virtual reality with all these people, and how would that all look and work and so on. So again, early days. Google is doing a lot of development on their platform, which is called Android XR, and will likely be similar to Android today. They build out a ton of the system. They have their services built in and so on, but then the apps that other people build on top of it are where further experiences can take place, similar to how iOS and those things are built out. And then some of our most favorite apps are put out on both platforms, and hopefully we'll continue to do so. That being said, how much of that are we going to see this week at I/O? I don't know. They haven't told me. I wish I had that kind of access into Google. Unfortunately, I don't. I do have some access. It's just not that good. But stay tuned, because I will be there in person. I'll be filming everything, and I'll probably make 3 or 4 videos from I/O. And that's pretty much that. Onto the Ubiquiti topic. Let me take another drink. I have lots of things to review from Ubiquiti that I have been lagging on, and I apologize. First it was Google Next, and then it was doing this whole studio construction, etc. And so it's been lots of delays on my part, but I have the device bridge I got to go through. I've got some the access control stuff. I've got pretty much most of the new things that they have been announcing and making a splash of. I want to do a further test on the U7 Pro outdoor, which I did do a video on, but it was filmed a little while ago, and I realized that I didn't film anything utilizing 6 gigahertz. I also want to do a full setup video as I do my rack, so I want to be able to show that stuff off as well. I'm also doing a large build out of access control and protect, so I'll probably end up filming that or parts of it as I get all of that set up and working. What else do I have from Ubiquiti? Let me just take a look at their website and see what I'm forgetting here. They've been on such a tear. Oh yeah, the next gen PTZ camera yet, unfortunately. I'm hoping they send them to me soon. I don't know that I'm going to get like the mega one, because I'm still kind of a small creator and don't have a huge office building to put that on, although I probably could find one if I thought about it. One of my clients has a large office building I could probably use. The AI horn speaker, I am desperately saying I need to have this. They need to send it to me because this is a huge component of how I would like to use the access control system and the alarm integrations and so on. I do not have the U6 long range. Sammy just put in the chat asking about the U6 long range. I thought you were talking about. Are you talking about the U7 long range? Because I saw that just launched, and I don't have that one, so I'm not sure. Basil says no leaks yet from the UWC Mexico and Sao Paulo. Really? Nothing? I just thought maybe I hadn't seen it yet. But so UWC is the Ubiquiti World Conference, I think, Conference, and it's their in-person conference. It's kind of invitation only, and they're doing it around the world in different locations. They did one in Miami, like I don't know, 4 or 5 months ago. Unfortunately, I was not able to go to that one. I thought enough in advance, I probably would have gone to the one in Mexico, but I had IO coming up next week, and Mexico was this week, so maybe not. But I'm missing out on a lot by not being there, and I want to see some of the newer stuff that I don't have in house, and plus also it's great to hear directly from the team and from the CEO and the founder and so on. Usually, those conferences, even though they say please don't take pictures or anything, usually you get several leaks of new products that are coming. And Vasil says there's been no leaks, so gonna have to poke around. Maybe folks just haven't gotten back from there yet, or perhaps the Ubiquiti police officers there have been more vigilant about making sure that people aren't taking pictures or videos of the devices that are there, as opposed to earlier years. I have seen some leaks from the conferences that Ubiquiti has attended where they had a booth as a sponsor, and we keep seeing indications of a backup battery that has been hinted and leaked and talked about, but not really ever released and never officially been called out, but has been shown up in some of the Ubiquiti videos as well. So maybe that's coming. I don't know. I wish. I really want a Ubiquiti battery. I like the cyber power ones that I buy, but one of the great things about the Ubiquiti system is how integrated it is. And right now, there's no there's no solid way to do a gentle shutdown in the case of power loss. So as far as I know, correct me if I'm wrong. But I want to see that come out, as well as some of the other things that we've heard about in the pipeline. Obviously, the entire Superlink lineup that is coming sometime this year, supposedly. I'm really excited about that, and I haven't heard anything else about that or when those things are coming, which is rather disappointing because it's a huge tease, just showing us off. Hey, here's the Superlink repeater and whatnot, and we're not actually going to give you any of the good stuff until much later. So checking the comments here. Vezels, you're gonna be going to London. For UWC, I want to ask you to leak everything to me, but I'm not going to tell you to leak everything to me because that would be against the rules. But I really want to know what's being sneak previewed over there, and I'm a little bit jealous. So enjoy that. I'm sure I'll take pictures, or I'll see pictures from these at some point. Sammy says that you have been an issue where the U6 long range, they go offline, they don't always work unless it's on a PoE++, and even then, not always working. I'm not sure. I definitely had some issues with the U7 Pro. The U6 long range, that's been out for a while, I think. No, maybe ask one of the other guys who has a lot more of those deployed. Let me just pull up that page over on here. The U7, yeah, the U7 long range is out. But the U6, where is it? I don't even see it on the site. Is it out of stock? Yeah, it is out of stock. U6 long range. I have one of those around here somewhere. Probably plug it in and check. I just gotta find it. Right now, everything is literally in boxes, as you saw and can see around me. So I'm not sure. I would have to take a look on what's going on with that. It's interesting now that we have PoE++ and PoE+++ and whatnot. I don't know what they're going to have to do for the next one, PoE plus square something. But there's a lot of development on that, and I'm looking forward to whatever the next generation is of all of these, because the XGS and the XG, the U7s, that redesign is really nice, and I am confident that they're going to bring that look to the entire rest of the lineup. I don't have any information on that officially, but there's a significant difference in heat dissipation of the XG, the U7 XG as opposed an XGS as opposed to the Pros and the long range of previous generations. So that'll probably be coming at some point. But I mean, Ubiquiti has just been nonstop on a tear this year. So I imagine that some of the stuff that's being talked about at those conferences will be coming out probably soon, and I look forward to being able to hopefully test out the entirety of the Superlink lineup, because that's the next step. We're talking about smart home integration and all that. This is Ubiquiti's smart home level integration, and they're bringing it to the workplace, and it's amazing that they're doing that, because I don't really know too many other platforms that do that, and competition in these areas is always a good thing. So okay, I've been talking for almost an hour here, so I'm going to wrap it up. Thank you for coming to my 10,000 subscriber celebration, or if you're listening to this on the podcast, thank you for listening to it. Excuse me. Always great to hang out with you all. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this next week, because I'm going to be probably on a plane flying back from IO, but and then editing all of my videos from IO. But probably in 2 weeks we'll resume this. If you notice on the thumbnail, I changed it from weekly to most weeks, because I will try to do it most weeks, but committing to doing this every single week, especially with all the travel that I've been doing, has been difficult. So on to getting the studio back set up. I had to release my Google I/O Know Before You Go video, because I haven't done that yet, because I only just recorded it, because it's been drilling around here and it hasn't been quiet enough for me to record a video. So that being said, I gotta let the guys in here so that they can do something up in the rafters, and I don't know, plumbing or something or other. And thank you all for coming along for the ride. 10,000 is pretty crazy. I'm a little bit emotional thinking about it, honestly. And this is really becoming a thing. So on to the next 0, onto 100,000. Share with your friends, like, subscribe, all the good things, all the jazz. And I'll see you next time on Tech for Work.